What was it like getting into that mindset?
It was interesting. I got to spend, I was at Fort Irwin for about a year learning how to build bombs and render them safe. It's
For a year?
Yeah. And just got to spend time with the guys and gals off campus, off base. Interesting. I love the whole experience, and then got to go shoot the movie, and that was on the Iraqi border in Jordan during the war. And it's 135 degrees and a 100-pound bomb suit. You're just, it's not even hot anymore. It's just sort of like you let that go. You just are. It's kind of a spiritual sort of place you have to go in that kind of heat, right?
Yeah.
And also you're drinking enough water, like how am I drinking all this water? And you're not even taking a leak, and like, oh, I'm so dehydrated. Gotta be careful. And that's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Experience,
What were the conversations like when you were talking to the people that actually did that?
Well, most of them look like, school teachers. There's like one or two guys one guy was like kind of built like huge, big guy, brawny guy. The rest of them were like, the guy that I know did 3 tours. He looks like he's totally out of shape. His stomach is way bigger than his chest. He's just kind of kind of. This guy did 3 tours. This guy's no joke. It's all mental. It's all such a mental game because you have to be cool in those high, intense situations because you're dealing with 155 explosives that'll blow this building off the block. And the level of intensity is really interesting. Like, they were so comfortable around C4 and all these things, and blah, blah, and you got to be careful, these blasting caps and all these things that people were getting injured all the time. They got really uncomfortable when I took them to a bar in L.A.
Why?
We were sitting at the bar, and I asked, I'm like, what's going on? It's the big guy. I can't remember his name. He's like, I don't like where we're sitting. Like, what do you mean? He's like, I need my back to the wall. I need to know where the exit's at. And right? And like, interesting. Like, because I sit like that kind of as well. I don't think it's a trust issue. I just like to I'd have my back to somewhere I know where the exit is, where the bathroom is. I look for the most dangerous man in the room, the hottest girl in the room. Instantly, just do like a Terminator checklist.
Right.
And that was supported by how these guys thought. And it's that same kind of thing. They just noticed everything. Just data. Okay, now I can go be here. I assess the room.
Right.
And I feel safe.
Situational awareness.
Yeah, situational awareness. I always had that, but like really doing that role and spending so much time with these crew of amazing people just heightened that for me. I've always been a quiet and observer, and this is where I just got information. I could tell you the color of the hinges if they match the finish on the doorknobs in places, and it's just how my brain works. And
always.
Yeah. Well, it's also I'm a home builder and designer, so I kind of pay attention to that kind of stuff anyway. But it sort of just kind of helps me out in life, I guess.
And so when you were preparing for Hurt Locker, was it your decision to spend a year doing this?
Well, no, it wasn't about the amount of time. I think I was maybe to go for maybe a few months. Catherine Bigelow, the director, just sort of introduced me. Said, all right, they're ready for you out at the base if you want to go. So I kind of went out and just kind of did it all on my own and just waiting for the movie to kind of get up and get greenlit and go. And it just took a little bit longer. I think we're waiting for one of the actors that was doing another job to finish, and then we could start. And then it wasn't an easy independent film to kind of get up and get rolling, but once we did, we were rocking. But yeah, it didn't meant to be like a year and a half. She just called me and she's like, "Are you ready to go?" I'm like, "Yeah," like I'm getting deployed. I'm like, "Yeah, let's go. I'm ready." And then I also we didn't even have an EOD sort of tech on the shoot. I had to be the person I had to call back. I'm like, I don't know, this doesn't look right. They set up these 155s and it's electrical and it should be det cord and all these things that I learned. But I wasn't an expert by any means. I just wanted to make it look authentic in the movie. So I had to call back and call me back. Let me take a picture of this shit. I don't think it's right.
Oh, wow.
And so.
Well, that's fortunate that you had so much experience then.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Because if there's anything out in that movie, especially for people that actually did that takes you out of it.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't want to do that because we wanted to be very authentic to what we were doing.
Yeah.
We are still making a movie, but let's live in this world. And look, the narrative is the characters that live in this bizarre world in a very relevant time in this war that we're in, and also the struggles of soldier in civilian life. And because they were civilians and now they became soldiers, they'd be put in prison for life for doing the shit they're getting paid to do now.
Right.
And that, and that was a wonderful sort of outcome of the movie of how it bridged that sort of gap or the struggles of with PTSD and coming back from this harrowing sort of existence and war, and then coming back and like the cereal aisle.
Right.
That example of like, oh, really, like, or in the rain and like you appreciate the sun. It's just such a polar opposite, and like this is my existence, and it became such a wonderful sort of starting point for like wives to deal with their husbands that came back, and like they can you kind of understand a little bit of what they might have gone through, just in general, like the broad strokes of how hard it is, and then to come back and then like change diapers and do the thing, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's that became such a powerful thing in that narrative that I found after we did it and we were showing it to all the military bases, and it's always going to be a special experience in my life, and I'll always be connected to a lot of soldiers because of that.
Well, it was a really well done movie, and it was the way you could. Well, there was a thing about that movie that made you think in a way, or made me think in a way that I don't think I ever thought before. Like, oh, I never considered what this transition to civilian life is like after dealing with the unbelievable stress of being in a war zone, defusing bombs, and then wanting to go back. But it made you understand. It made you understand, like, oh, fuck, he wants to go back. Like, oh, my God. Like, watching the movie. Like, oh. When a movie can do that to you, when it can take you into that psychology of the person that would be in that state and make it make sense. Like, that was a great movie.
Yeah. I'm just happy to be part of it.
It was more than just, it wasn't just a story. It was like you're documenting a very real condition. That, through art, you put words to these people's existence where they don't have anybody representing that.
That's why it means a lot to me, and they let me know it means a lot to them, and that's the most special thing. Like, fuck it, the movie part of it. I think it's created a dialogue for a lot of broken families and united families better, or there's like you said, it's a greater understanding of like that difference of soldier-civilian life. It's a great bridge for it.
Yeah, I remember.
Very proud of that.
I saw it, and then I went back to the Comedy Store, and I said, "Oh man, we saw Hurt Locker last night," and my friend went, "Dude," and I went, "Dude." And that was like all we had to say, like, fuck, man.